Hello, everyone. This is Cassandra Williamson with The Path Forward, and I am coming out of the holler today. Actually, no, I've been in and out of the holler all day long. It's kind of a unique place here in the hills. So I did go out earlier this morning. I had to get a tooth looked at. There's one of them that had chipped and cracked. So I think the doctor put Bondo in there and fixed it temporarily because we have to have a root canal to fix that. That sounds pleasant. Not at all. So everyone around here is doing fine. Mom's all right. My brother Gideon's all right. Irma, she's supposed to be going to the doctor in the morning. We've got to leave from the house here at 5 a.m. so that we can get to Pikeville Medical Center in Pikeville, Kentucky by 6:15 a.m. She's supposed to have an EGD and a colonoscopy tomorrow, and she is not liking that magnesium citrate, the 2 bottles. She is not having that. I took a bottle in there and took some Sprite with me as a clear liquid to kind of help her kind of digest the flavor and all of that. And that didn't go over too well either. She took a sip and then put it down and goes, no, I'm not doing it. But she did take the 3 Dulcosate pills, which is still a runner to the bathroom, but not nearly as quickly as the other stuff would. So anyway, we got that going on. And I told her, I said, hey, look, you're going to have to go be ready to roll. And she has to have a wheelchair to get around. She can't walk. So I told her, you're going to have to get ready because when this stuff kicks in, you are going to have to be in the bathroom. And I can well imagine that I'm going to be cleaning up a big mess out of all of this. So it may turn out that we don't do the colonoscopy. We'll do the EGD for sure because they need to find out what's causing all of the pain in this area of her throat, the esophagus area specifically. But yeah. So we have been busy today. It's been very interesting. Let me see what else has gone on today around in this area. Oh, it rained one time. It rained so hard the road couldn't see the road, but that lasted all of 3 minutes, and that was gone. It was over. So if anybody wants to join in and be a part of this conversation, I know that I've got stuff here that's just all over the place. My necklace is everywhere, and everything's just kind of thrown together. So what do you want to talk about today? Anyone? The other day I did a little old clip from down in what's called Appalachian Plaza near here, and it's in South Williamson, Kentucky, and pretty much the place is empty except for Taco Bell, which was up just high enough to be out of the flood when it came back in the spring. And I think there's a little convenience store there that was up high enough. It's safe. Just about everything else, though, was inundated with water. And so a lot of these places aren't opening back up. Some will, but the delay is enormous for that. But, a lot of people are put out of work as a result of that, and I don't know how they take care of themselves from there, but I do know that they are being taken care of, and which is good. The owners and the employees of many of those little businesses. So anyway, there's not a whole lot of things going on there's just so much. Let me rephrase it. Let me just start over with that. There are so many things going on that it's hard to find one thing to focus on and still keep the premise of this show, The Path Forward, as being something that we want to be centered on, focused on. And the path forward requires a lot of us to actually start thinking about how we fit into the larger community of Americans here. We are Americans. We serve for our country, and we've done all of those things, and yet then we serve for people to be able to say, oh, I don't like you. I don't want you in the public square. And then they're saying it and they're acting upon it now. I know that a lot of things have happened, and this big ugly bill that came out, it will build the ICE team to be larger than the Marine Corps, which has what, 240 some thousand people. So this unit, this ICE unit, is going to be one of the largest police forces in the country. And that's somewhat frightening, just to say the least. It's somewhat frightening. But there are people in this country who don't need to be here. But we also have an obligation to treat our neighbors and even those who come to our border with a sense of dignity and respect. And I'm not taking that call. They'll just have to call back later. So we have a human responsibility to be decent human beings to everyone that we come in contact with. And if we're not doing that, even to those who come into our country and they were able to get in illegally, we still have a responsibility to them as a person, don't we? And that's a challenge. And particularly from those on one part of our political divide in this country who apparently have forgotten all about empathy. They don't even understand empathy or compassion or any of that. They think they have empathy for America first and compassion for America first and screw everybody else. Well, that's the very definition of solipsism. That's the very definition of it. It's kind of correlated with narcissism, except that it's a philosophical way of thinking, and we've got that on the right. We've got it with some of the psychologists and other people who do the talking over on X that I kind of watch closely, and I try to poke every now and then, but they are completely ignoring me right now because I've called them out on it, and I'm not having it. I'm not having it. The stuff that they're saying is wrong, it's baseless, and they think they're right. But the thing is, they don't even want to sit down and hear from me about this perspective, our perspective on things, and they just want to move right ahead with what they got going on, and they talk big about viewpoint diversity and having other ideas represented and the table at which they sit, and having a big table. But nonetheless, in reality, they don't. They will shut you out and tell others to shut you out. And that's happened a few times in my dialogue with people over there on the right side. So we have to find a way to talk to people. And that's been the biggest challenge that any organization has, is finding a way to talk to people who don't think like you, believe like you, act like you. Because if you don't include those voices, then you won't even have half of the picture. You will not have half of the representation. And it will further divide the nation because people are building wedges between all these different viewpoints. Even though if we want to move forward successfully, then we have to entertain the possibility that someone else may know something that's important that we don't know. It's shocking to me that people who, well, no, I guess it's not really shocking to me. It's disheartening. It's disheartening to me that people who say they have certain knowledge sets and certain levels of education or training, but they still cannot comprehend the idea that somebody else may have a different way of thinking, and it can be entirely just as right as theirs. It's another perspective, a viewpoint perspective that they basically refuse to hear. And so we've got a lot of stuff going on in that regard. And I've been pounding on this for several days now, really, is about that if we want to save the country, basically, to get out of this cycle of us and them and left and right, to get kind of at least smooth it out a little bit, to make it less combative, to make it less dramatic, the differences, and kind of slow down this rapid acceleration of division, then we must hear other people and listen to them. Don't talk over them. Don't presume that what they have to say is not important because it's important to them. Give them that space. That viewpoint diversity is huge. It's important. It will smooth out these ripples that we see in the way the country moves forward. We move forward in jerks and bounds, and we go forward and then back and then forward. We go forward one and back two. It seems like, and forward one and back two more. Forward one and back two more. I mean, it's a constant battle between opposing views. But neither is willing to hear the other, and each side is vilifying the other one, making it seem as if they're not American enough to be who they say they are. And that's wrong, people. Whether or not you are engaged in any of this kind of stuff or not, whether or not this is of interest to you, you're still an American. Whether or not you served in the military, you're still an American, right? You can be a naturalized one or a native-born American or whatever. As long as you can be either one of those things and still be an American. And the problem that we have is that we want to close off people from others who think a little bit differently than them or have a different perspective on the world and life in general. And we don't entertain other ideas. We think we know it all. I see that over on the right. I see that on the left. I see that with the libertarians are a little bit different. But regardless, their numbers are about like trans people in the country. So left and right, this big wedge, this big thing separating two silos that just don't want to communicate with each other. And you have people standing out in front of the doors and the gatekeepers who are going, if you're going to say anything in this echo chamber, in this silo in here, it's got to be done this way. And the other side is doing the same thing to their people on the inside. And anybody who tries to cross over and have a conversation, they get shut down. They just won't hear you. They just think that everything you have to say and all the stuff that you know is irrelevant. And therefore, they think they don't even have to listen to you. And that's what's happening with some of these people who are credentialed PhD people I'm talking to on X, J.D. Halligan and others. There's numerous others on there. They jump in and try to say that, no, you don't need to be talking to that person. We'll just block them and mute them. That's what they said. They go, no, mute them, talking about me. Because I'll tell them flat out what's going on, and that we need to hear each other. But yet, no, they put up a wall. And that wall is that if you don't think like them, then they just don't think you're worthy of their time. And that's the problem. We have it. There are lots of people over here on this side who say the same thing, act it out, the exact same thing. Who say that the other side just, we don't understand them at all. Well, why don't you listen to them? Why don't you hear them? Just sit down at a table with them and let them tell you what it is that they are thinking and why. And listen. It doesn't mean you have to entertain every one of those ideas or believe them or accept them or anything like that. You have to weigh it against your own mores, and all your own personal philosophy. You've got to weigh those things against yours, and whether you adapt or change or not, it's up to you. But nonetheless, we still need to be listening to each other, and we don't. And no matter what happens, it seems like the media sources on both sides completely try to alienate the other one and vilify the other one. And it's not helpful. It's not helpful. It's making that divide and that separation even bigger and more difficult to cross. So the people here in Appalachia, the people right here in the middle of the country and in flyover country and the rest of the middle of the nation, we see all of this stuff and we're going, just live and let live. Come on. What's the big deal? These people aren't bothering me and I'm not bothering them. Come on. Isn't that what we want? Live and let live, live in peace and freedom, and not be shoved under the floorboards in the back of the closet ever again. We just want to be left alone too. But we still want to be able to interact with people and have a conversation with them and try to understand it. But from right here in Appalachia and these hills of Eastern Kentucky, maybe there's a lesson to be learned here. Maybe there's something we can take from here that will actually help the rest of the country kind of come together and at least hear each other. Well, I talk to people every day. Every day. Some of them are initially shocked, but over time, we get to know each other a little bit better and the conversations just kind of flow naturally. Nobody's badgering somebody over this or saying mean crap over here about that. This lesson here in this place in Appalachia, right here in Eastern Kentucky and Southern West Virginia, right here along the Tug River, they've got something going on that the rest of the nation needs. And that's be at peace with everyone around you. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. And don't be so darn serious about all of it. Listen to people, folks. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's frustrating to me. And I think there's a lesson that we can take away from here in these hills. The people here are strong and resilient. They listen in. They aren't afraid to let you know what they think. Let me give you an example. I know darn well that these people, these old men, and I'm saying they're old men, they're probably younger than me. These men sitting at McDonald's, I'll sit there every morning, just about every morning. And whenever I'm doing DoorDash stuff, which gets me out and I go out and talk to people, it gives me an opportunity to go in there, and they see me there all the time. And I don't know if they're ogling me or what's going on. I don't know what's really going on in their heads. But I was walking to the bathroom one morning, and when I came back out, one of the guys stopped me because they all at the table know that I do DoorDash stuff, and they see me frequently there picking up orders and things. So they wanted to just stop and talk. I know that wasn't really the conversation they wanted, but they said, "Can you make any money at that?" I said, "Yeah, you can if you get out here and just do it. I mean, you're retired. You have a vehicle that's pretty decent on gas, I hope, because you'll need it. But yeah, you can." And we just talked for a few minutes, back and forth. He and myself and one other man sitting there at that table, just sitting there talking. Well, I was standing there, but sitting there chatting. And I know that they had all kinds of other questions, but they didn't ask. It didn't bother them that they were talking to me because I've used this voice and this body all the time. It's the only one I've got. Okay. I'm not changing it. I'm not transitioning to something else. This is who I am forever and forevermore. That's just the way it is. I have no interest in doing any of that stuff ever again. I don't need to transition. I am there. I'm where I need to be. I'm happy with that. And they don't seem to be bothered too much by it either. Of course, they're curious. Curiosity is fine. And I will address any kind of questions that they might ask, no matter what they may seem or what they may come across as. I don't take offense at every little thing that jumps out in front of me because somebody is looking at me sideways. There may have been a time many, many, many years ago when I did, but not now. I know that it doesn't help, that it contributes to the problem. And I hope people in this community will learn that lesson too. And tomorrow, I don't know if I'll be able to make it back. I do in time to do the noontime thing. I could probably do it on the road too, though, because I have the Restream app on my phone. I have to do it from Pikeville somewhere. But yeah, so tomorrow I'll take my sister Irma, to the doctor for EGD and colonoscopy, and I'm beginning to doubt very seriously we're going to be able to do the colonoscopy because she cannot stand that magnesium citrate. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great evening. It's been fun. And remember, there is a path forward out of the holler. All you have to do is just start walking or driving and smile. Have a great day.